Self-representation matters. Black feminist artists subverting and replacing dominant cultural narratives of value. This video essay is going to briefly explore how Black feminist artists use self-expression and representation as a means of 1. Expressing love for self and community, and 2. Actively subverting and replacing dominant narratives about Black womanhood. The art of Black feminists has the power to shift viewers' understandings of self, worth, and the systems of power we operate within on a daily basis. Black womanist, poet, and activist Audre Lorde described the necessity of the act of creation for Black women in her 1985 piece, Poetry is Not a Luxury. She wrote this about Black women's timeless relationship with poetry and other forms of creation. It is through poetry that we give name to those ideas which are, until the poem, nameless and formless, about to be birthed, but already felt. Lorde's writing depicts how Black women have historically used, and will continue to use, acts of creation like poetry to shed light on their realities that go unrepresented in history textbooks, on movie screens, and in most forms of media. In bringing these realities to light and to power, these artists are rewriting the existing dominant scripts on value. Lorde elaborates on the power in these acts of creation. When Black women are able to tap into their reserves of creativity and power, those fears which rule our lives and form our silences begin to lose control over us. As we come more into touch with our own ancient non-European consciousness of living as a situation to be experienced and interacted with, we learn more and more to cherish our feelings and to respect those hidden sources of power from where true knowledge, and therefore lasting action, comes. These reserves of creativity and power that Lorde discusses here are the main focus of this video. Together, we will examine and unpack how the creations of Black feminist artists can shift the colonized mind away from a European understanding of worth, and instead move towards a holistic understanding of value that centers the ongoing history and spirituality of Black feminist creation. From practicing this Black feminist understanding, we can take meaningful actions that promote self-love and debunk the dominant narratives written and maintained by systems of white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism, and heterosexism. Let's start with Nikki Giovanni's 1971 poem, Ego Tripping. The lyrics frame Africa as a place full of people that hold inherent worth. Centuries of colonization have allowed white supremacist and imperialist narratives about the continent to take root in the Western imagination. Giovanni counters these ideas of poverty and despair by writing a glorious narrative about Mother Africa instead.
I am the one who would say, I sow diamonds in my backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The filings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky.
By characterizing Africa's natural materials coveted by the Western world as merely excrements of the powerful and soulful being that is Mother Africa, Giovanni promotes self-love for African women and communities, deeming worth as inherent and spiritual, countering imperialist notions of material worth. Kenyan artist Wangechi Mutu collages with Western popular media to produce new images of African women that resist dominant Western popular culture, which most often does not depict Black women at all. In response to this absence of Black women's stories from the lens of Western media, Mutu literally deconstructs white supremacist and patriarchal media that ignores Black womanhood, and then uses those materials to reconstruct new narratives that showcase nuanced and beautiful understandings of Black womanhood.
For me, every little bit of culture can be used to investigate almost any other bit of culture. So I'm sort of stirring up the image of a Black woman, and I don't often find a lot of mainstream pictures of Black women. So ironically, even though my work is obsessed with my, my sisters, my cousins, my, women I was raised with, African women, I find the ingredients of all of this work is coming from places that pay no attention to those women. So it's kind of an ironic thing in a way. I'm producing that image out of that very lack of it,
These creators are only two examples of the countless Black feminist artists who have contributed to this never-ending reevaluation of our understanding of worth. Whether through song, visual art, or other means, Black feminist artists deconstruct harmful white supremacist, capitalist, and imperialist narratives about worth. In the place of the narratives they subvert, these artists and those that came before them have actively created new ones. These narratives center the unceasing nature of Black women's creative spirit, which has depicted the multifaceted realities of Black and African womanhood since the beginning of time. This is why representation, and specifically self-representation in media matters. Empowering Black feminist creators to continue making media that reshapes the way we think of Black womanhood allows us to chip away at our previously held notions about racialized and gendered measurements of worth, like intelligence, morality, aesthetics, culture, and sexuality. Instead, these women instill audiences with a universal understanding of the value of dreaming and imagination as forms of resistance. Lorde said, "Poetry is the way we help give name to the nameless so it can be thought. There are no new pains, we have felt them all already. We have hidden that fact in the same place where we have hidden our power. They surface in our dreams, and it is our dreams that point the way to freedom. Those dreams are made realizable through our poems that give us the strength and courage to see, to feel, to speak, and to dare. For there are no new ideas. There are only new ways of making them felt." As a consumer of media, which narratives will you question? As a creator of new ideas, which ones will you choose to put into words? Which representations will you allow to write the narratives of worth?